On a day out in Berwick-upon-Tweed, we went to the Granary to see an exhibition called Lowry and the Sea, which showed a different side to Lowry's work. There were no matchstalk men or matchstalk cats and dogs here, but paintings and drawings of the sea, a move away from the industrial style which he's best known for. Born in Lancashire in 1887, Lawrence Stephen Lowry was an only child. His parents did not show much interest in his art, but Lowry drew constantly throughout his childhood. In 1905, Lowry started to attend art classes in Salford, and he continued with art classes for 20 years. His studies took place alongside his day job as a clerk until 1910, when he became a rent collector, until he retired in 1952, aged 65. It was while doing his job as a rent collector that he became interested in the people and places of the poorer parts of Manchester and decided to get industrial scenes recognised as a legitimate subject. It was his paintings of industrial scenes inspired by his hometown of Salford and the northwest of England in general that first brought him success in the 1930s and a reputation as a painter of the working classes. By 1920, he had created his own style and his works began to be exhibited and collected. Lowry exhibited for the next 10 years internationally in Dublin, Paris and Japan, and in 1930 he sold all 25 drawings at an exhibition in Manchester. While things were on the up for him, he suffered a personal tragedy when his father died in 1932, leaving his family in a lot of debt. This affected his mother's health, and Lowry became a full-time carer while paying off his father's debts. He continued to paint and exhibit works, but things took their toll on his health, and he was ordered to take rest by his doctor, and this is when he first went to Berwick-upon-Tweed in the mid-1930s. Lowry got a big break in 1938 with an exhibition in London where one of his paintings was bought by the Tate Gallery. However, just 8 months after this, his mother died, which had a massive impact on his life. After his mother died, he said, "I've not cared much for anything since she died. I've nothing left, and I just don't care. She didn't understand my paintings, but she understood me, and that was enough." When his mum died in 1939, it was the sea that took him in a new direction. He loved Berwick-upon-Tweed and first visited here in the mid-1930s and continued to visit for 40 years until his death in 1976. Lowry didn't paint much after his mother's death, and then came the Second World War, but in 1944 he took a trip to Anglesey on the northwest coast of Wales, and after this trip he began to paint the sea more and more as an expression of his loneliness. Lowry didn't serve in the Second World War due to his flat feet. He began drawing ships from the age of 8 on family holidays on the northwest coast, but it is after 1952 we see increased numbers of seascapes, which had been a theme that ran through Lowry's life, and it is his paintings done on his travels in later life to coastal towns that reveal more about the real Lowry. In 1948 he moved to a village in Cheshire, and this rural location spurred a new direction for his work. Gone were industrial scenes, and in their place he began to paint more landscapes and seascapes. This exhibition we are at took place in Berwick-upon-Tweed, and it is his relationship with this town that tells a wider story of a lifelong love of the sea, which increased after his mother's death. Here we will see some paintings of the sea before his mother's death, but mainly from later life. There are no matchstalk men here, just the sea. In 1976, aged 88, Lowry died of pneumonia after a stroke. When you step out the back of the granary, this is the view of the River Tweed and the bridges that cross it. This is part of the beach at Berwick upon Tweed, with views out to the North Sea. Did Lowry ever stand here on this spot and paint? This is the Castle Hotel in Berwick upon Tweed, where Lowry often stayed during his frequent visits to the town. In 1958, aged 70, Lowry did a sketch and gave it to the hotel receptionist. 40-odd years later, she took it to the Antiques Roadshow and discovered it was worth £8,000. The receptionist had kept the drawing in a box for 43 years. Another hotel receptionist was given several sketches by her guest, but she put them all, including the portrait he did of her, in the bin.